back to the mini weekend. I'm your host, Jack. Let's get into it, mini. Wow. Sorry. What did we go with tonight? Well, our friends over at Northern Soda Co. did it again. We got a 4-pack of their this year's Halloween 4-pack, and also their Mystery Soda Experience 2024 6-pack or 2025 6-pack, limited quantities delivered to us today. So a huge shout out for them. For those. Can't wait to try all of them. So with that, we went with one of their Halloween ones tonight, and we did the candy corn soda. And I have to say, I didn't know what to expect, but I don't know if you guys saw after I opened it before I sipped it, the smell I got was not what I was expecting, and it was very, very good. It's hard to envision what a liquid form of candy corn would taste like, but this is pretty spot on. And if you look in it, it's definitely colored too. Man, this is solid. I'm not in love with it, but I did not think I was going to like it this much. Let's see if they have like a little excerpt of like what they put down. Don't know. But yeah, there for their Halloween 4-pack, you can actually get stuff shipped to you now. Go on to the their website, and you can have it shipped to you. Celebrate Halloween with the annual Northern Soda Company Halloween 4-pack. This year's 4-pack comes with a can of Potion Punch, a can of pumpkin spice root beer, a can of caramel apple, and then obviously the candy corn soda that we are trying tonight. And then for those that are like Jack, that mystery soda experience, what is that all about? So the 6 flavors that have been created are absolute secret by their soda maker. He's the only one on the planet that knows what they are. So it says, do you think you have a sophisticated soda palate? Can you guess them all? You can pick them up beginning September 19th at the tap room. But some of the flavors are pretty complex. It says we use some amazing ingredients, and of course we handcrafted each of them. So only we made a small amount, and when they are gone until next year. Each mystery 6-pack comes with a custom-made tasting card that provides a category for each of the 6 sodas to give you a ballpark idea of what you might be tasting. Each of the 6 categories comes complete with a scratch-off lotto-style section that you can scratch off to reveal the actual flavors. I'm excited to try that out. I know my son is. How much he'll be getting of these is very little, but it should be super fun. But yeah, for those that might be wondering, what is Northern Soda Co.? They're a Twin Cities-based craft soda company specializing in 1950s style soda using real sugar and premium ingredients. And we love them over here. They've made a lot of really tasty sodas. And I have to say, this candy corn, there's something about that smell that's probably going to help me give it a little bit higher of a rating. Oh gosh, we're getting annoyed by another bug. I like it. I'm not crazy about it. But I think the crazy part I am about, I didn't think it would taste this well. I thought it was going to kind of be middle of the pack. Like, hey, this is okay. But I think for this one, I'm gonna go 7.2. I think 7.2 is a good spot for it. It's solid. It's right there, kind of in that upper echelon, but right outside of like the the 8s and 9s. But it's solid. I would get this again. I don't know how long these are out. Probably for a limited time, and I would imagine for the rest of the month. Maybe a little bit into November. Probably not. But yeah, I really like it. It almost has kind of like as weird as it sounds, like a tropical like flavor burst. I'm getting hints of like, what's that? Okay, this is gonna sound crazy, but some of those like Yankee candles, it kind of tastes a little bit like some of those smells, like the pink one, and I'm all for it. I didn't think I'd like something like this, but this is solid. This is good. Shout out to our friends over at Northern Soda Co. for all of this. Can't wait to see what the other ones taste like. I will obviously have the other ones on here as well. And yeah, you guys should go check them out. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, I believe Facebook and TikTok, and then northernsoda.com. And then fun fact, they're only open Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So go check them out. You guys will not be disappointed. And yeah, that's what we have for our soda of the podcast tonight. And then for Tommytown tonight, We are actually, I know, coming at you guys on Thursday here, but for the men and women's basketball teams, no new news. However, the Tommy men's team is coming off of they're currently coming off back-to-back losses to North Dakota. Kind of relatively close games. The first one was a 2-10 loss. The second one was 2-10, 2-6, and then 2-5. But the nice thing is, it's not like they were a blowout. I mean, both, I shouldn't say, like the first game, they got out to a 5-0 lead before St. Thomas scored back-to-back goals, making it 5-2. But then late in the game, a power play goal made it, 6-. But then in the XL game, it was pretty back and forth. Pretty back and forth. St. Thomas never had a lead in the game. They were down 1-0 before tying at 1-1. UND went up 3-1. St. Thomas made a 1-goal game. UND made it a 2-point goal game. So a little bit of back and forth action. So yeah, it stunk that they weren't able to get the series split, and then that they couldn't get at least one win. But hey, North Dakota is a very good team as far as hockey is concerned. They have a large, really good history there, similar to like the Gophers, where they, even for recruiting, if they have a down year, that history and what they're known for, they're going to always get some big time recruits up there. So definitely a team that if you want to take that next step, you're going to have to beat them. But they're still climbing that ladder. I still believe they're 18, 19, 20, 21 in the nation, which again, that's no easy feat, but they have to kind of keep up a level of consistency here with some of the top teams, or else they will fall out of that. They're currently getting ready for a series. They're probably already out there. And what's that? A Cadet Ice Arena in Colorado, taking on Air Force. The first game will be tomorrow night, Friday, 8:05 p.m. on the 17th, and then Saturday at 9:05 p.m. So that'll be fun to watch them before the big event that everybody is waiting for a week from tomorrow, Friday the 24th, the opening of I shouldn't say the opening because they had a student opening today or earlier this week, but the official opening first game ever in the new Liam Penny Anderson Arena. Super excited. I think I told you guys last week, I will be in attendance with one of my brother-in-laws who went to St. Thomas as well. I'm so super stoked. If you see us there, come say hi. Should be a really fun environment, and hopefully they get the dub. Yeah, so that's what we have for the men's hockey team. For the women's hockey team, very similar. This last week, they were able to pull their longest season starting win streak to 5 games with a 2-1 win over Mankato State. Unfortunately, Mankato State would get the series split, winning the second game, shutting out the Tommies 3-0. So I mean, hey, to start off the season 1-5 or 5-1, not too shabby, considering 1, 2, 3, 4 of your next 5, 6 of your next 7 series are against teams in the top 10 in the nation currently. They got Providence, who's not ranked, but then they host Ohio State, who's number 2, to Bemidji. They host Minnesota Duluth, who's currently 6th, Wisconsin, who's currently 1, and then Minnesota, who is currently 4. So like I said, it's going to be a dogfight for them, this year with some of the girls that they have coming back, some of the veteran leadership, some of the new faces. You hope that they can keep those games competitive. I mean, and it's not like you need to beat Ohio State 3 to 4 times or Minnesota 3 to 4 times, but if you can steal a game here or there and win 1 or 2 against an Ohio State or against a Wisconsin or against a Minnesota, that's all you need. You got to get a taste of that victory to kind of, okay, this is what it's going to take and go from there. So super excited for this team. I mean, like I said, Providence, they have a chance to win those 2 games. St. Cloud State is 10 that they got coming up here. But yeah, it should be a fun season for the girls hockey team. I'm sure they can't wait to get into the new arena just as much as we can't. But should be super fun and can't wait to see them in action. And then for the women's team, before we move on to college football, they will be in action tomorrow for a Friday and Saturday series as well. Friday night tomorrow will be 2 p.m. and then 1 p.m. on October the 18th. I did have some people reach out about, Jack, are you going to be posting game recaps? Didn't realize those were super not as popular as it sounds like they were. And yes, I am the first one to admit I have done a really bad job of posting those. I think a little bit of what made it a little harder for me to keep on top of it last year was just the at length synopsis I would do. So I think going forward, we're just going to keep it simple. We're kind of going to be like St. Thomas does, or the Wild does on the Wild, and just essentially post our graphic with just like a really quick, top performer, just 1-2 sentences really quick, boom, get it done, keep it simple. And we're going to do that for the same sports that we've done last year. So men and women's hockey, men and women's basketball, football for the Gophers, and then for our professional teams as well. So yeah. For the football team, they are, God, get out of here, stupid fly. They're riding high after a dominant 57-13 win over Davidson this last week. Could not have gone better for the team. They went down to North Carolina and just put the hurt. Everybody got involved. Andy Peters, Mari Powell, and Ryan Jackson all threw for a touchdown. Pat Bowen rushed for 2. Joseph Cook rushed for 3. And then I think they got a couple of 3, and I think defensively, everybody got in on the action. It was fun to watch. It was just all around a good game, and it looks like both Andy Peters and Amari Powell threw for over at least 148 yards with their touchdown. It makes you wonder what's going to happen going forward. Andy Peters got the most of the snaps there, but at the conclusion of this last week, I wanted to take a quick gander right now. Presbyterian is still 2-0. Dayton is 3-0. Drake is 2-0. And then we're right there at 1-2. So, I mean, yeah, we're going to have our work cut out for us. Sorry, I have too much stuff open here. For the football team, having lost to Butler and having lost to San Diego. Butler, is 2-1, and San Diego is 1-2. So, again, you just got to, I think at this point, I talked a little bit too much about it last week about getting all the help and everything like that. And I think the best thing that this football team can do going forward is to not look ahead and not look forward to it, and just worry about the team and the team ahead of you and the game at hand. And good things will happen. They usually do. So a huge, huge, huge win for the Tommy football team this last weekend. They will now, I'm not going to be at this game. I definitely want to get out to another game, especially with my kid. They're getting ready to host Valparaiso at 1 p.m. on Saturday. And then their next game won't be until November 1st. So they'll be going back and forth, home, away, home, away, home, away, for essentially the rest of the season. So the only remaining home games are the 18th, Morris, November 1st, and then Presbyterian at the end of the season. And Presbyterian is currently 19th. So if they can run the table going into that game, if Butler can lose another game or two, and if San Diego can lose another game or two, that could be for the conference. So keep grinding, keep doing what you guys got to do, and hopefully we can see them fighting for a playoff spot come the end of the season. And then for the Gopher team, they got a hard-fought 2020 win over the Boilermakers. Very, very Minnesota-like, kind of fell behind early on in the game, and just couldn't get a ton of going. It almost seemed like at times PJ Fleck just didn't trust Drake Lindsey's arm. And I was talking about this the other day with one of my coworkers, and it's like, if that's the case, that's not the end of the world. But it's like, if that is in fact the case, put in someone whose arm you do trust. Like, you can't be a one-dimensional team, and PJ Fleck has been blessed with having an abundance of great running backs. So they find ways to do that. But when you do that and you run the ball so much, you become a one-dimensional team. So teams come in knowing, hey, if we stop your run game, we're more than likely going to win, because you're not working on you're not throwing big plays. Your cornerbacks maybe don't have big arms, and it stinks. Now, obviously, he threw for 232 yards, but still, there were just so many throws and so many instances where this team just continued to run on second and longs, on third and longs, and it really made you question, similar to Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings, question the play calling, which as a fan of your own team, you don't want to do that. But hey, a win is a win, and now with this win, they're in the top half at 2-1, in Big Ten. But this team really has an opportunity here with 6 games left. Really every single game except other than that Oregon game is winnable. So they very well, sitting at 4-2, they very well could finish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They could very well finish 9-3. But are they going to be able to do it? I mean, again, they should have beaten California. They didn't. Rutgers was a little bit too close for comfort. But at the end of the day, I think PJ Fleck has got to take more opportunities throwing the ball downfield. Darius Taylor didn't even have that strong of a game. He only had 32 rushing yards in that game, but he also caught 67 yards through the air from Drake Lindsey. But yeah, again, this was a game that, Purdue, our defense gave us opportunities. In that first quarter, outside of that first touchdown from Purdue, it was punt, 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 punt. Our first interception they got 3 plays later turned into nothing. We had to punt, and then at least on the second interception, it turned into. But at the end of the day, like this team really had an opportunity to tie the game very early in the second quarter, 7-7, and they just didn't. So a couple of things to tighten up and get better at. But again, on to the next one. I don't think I touched on. So once again, hopefully they show up. This will be their 3rd primetime game in a row. They got tomorrow night, 7 p.m., hosting Nebraska, who's currently number 25. So again, this is a big game that, it doesn't mean, hey, if you beat the 25th ranked team, you become the 25th ranked team. But at the end of the day, it makes for a good case for why you should be in that conversation. And I've talked about this for at least the last couple of years. And I think with the state of the Big Ten, they're never going to be in that upper echelon with the Ohio State, the Oregons, the USCs, Michigans necessarily. But I think what they can do is religiously be a 20 to 25 team in the nation, fighting on any given year for a spot in the college playoff. Like one of those final spots, not necessarily a concrete, 3, 4, or 5, but a spot in it. They just need to have some of these statement wins and then continue to be consistent with it and at least beating the teams you're supposed to beat. So they got to get ready for Dylan Raiola, who's going to be ready to sling that thing, and just hope for the best. So that is what we have for college football, not the betting side. So yeah, with that, this last week, we continue to do not great for our college football picks. We've been kind of back and forth. Went 1-3 this last week, now dipping under that 50%. So we are going to get back on track with you guys here. 9-11 on the year. 1-3 last week. Oregon -7.5 didn't hit. They lost. Michigan, USC over 57 points did not hit. Rutgers +10.5 did not hit. But Ohio State and Illinois under 51 did hit. But just like I always say, we bounce back. So our week 8 4 picks we have for you guys this week. First one, Miami -13.5 points at home over Louisville. Carson Beck has really continued to look great and roll for this Miami team thus far, including that big win over Florida State last week. I know Louisville, we've talked about, the buys a lot in our picks, is coming off their bye. But really their only good game they've won this year is against Pittsburgh. But I think the trenches are going to be a big part in this game. And Miami's O-line and D-line, I think, are going to prove just to be too much for Miller Moss. And those boys give me Miami -13.5 at home over Louisville. Second one, I got Ole Miss +7.5 at Georgia. Again, this is a weird line. I really think Ole Miss is a great team. I know they're currently with their backup quarterback right now, but I think 7.5 points is too many for this team. Don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily think Ole Miss is going to go into Georgia and beat the Bulldogs outright, but I expect them to keep it a 1-score game and keep it presentable and at least cover the points, if nothing else. So give me Ole Miss +7.5. Third pick, Maryland and UCLA under 51.5 points. This UCLA offense is suddenly rolling these last few weeks, putting up 42 and 34 points against Penn State and Michigan State, respectively. But for Maryland, Malik Washington has been looking very good lately, making some really great throws and great decisions these last handful of weeks, especially last week against Nebraska. But that defense did pretty much let the Cornhuskers move the ball at will, and I think that continues. I think it'll be a back and forth high scoring game. So like I said, give me the over 51.5 in the Maryland UCLA game. And then the final game I got for you guys, give me Notre Dame USC over 61.5 points. This game features two dual threat quarterbacks. And then on the flip side, both of these teams struggle defensively when going up against good quality quarterback play. Looking at the history of this game that I did, because I'm a huge numbers guy, the over has hit in the last 3 years between these two teams. And I just think this is going to be a really close, high scoring affair. So give me Notre Dame USC over 61.5. And those are the 4 picks I have for you guys. And just like the last couple of weeks, I forgot to say it before it, but do what you will with these picks. I am not a financial advisor, meaning I am not liable for any losses, just like I will not come after you guys for any wins. Do your homework. Tread, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just be careful. And if you find yourself that you have any issues with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER and they will get you the tools and help you out where you need to be. And yeah, that is what we have for our college sports. Now, moving on, I don't know if you guys could tell, but we copped the latest drop from UNRL. Super smooth, super sleek, super simple. It's the crew neck of essentially the Elevation hoodie. I'm not going to lie, I anticipated it being a little bit thicker, but it's not. It almost feels like a cross between, it almost feels more like a long sleeve than it does an actual crew neck, but super nice, super good feel. I love the look of the Elevation hoodie style. Obviously you have the OG logo here. On this side you got the UNRL patch with that Unreal logo, UNRL up here, and then over here is a nice touch. So they got the 1961. That's when the team came into the league. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see it from both ways. 61, then you flip it upside down, 61. So pretty cool. Again, I've talked to you guys at length about UNRL. Some of my favorite things about them is they just keep the design simple. I know some people I've seen online, it's not their favorite. But again, I think some of this for me is the simplicity, and part of it sometimes for me is the different color schemes. I don't think a lot of people are crazy about this color scheme. I personally am. I have a ton of whites, blacks, grays, and blues because I is just one of my favorite colors. So I'm always looking for different colors. So something like this fits into my wardrobe and my closet perfectly. So I love it. And then per usual, we got on one of our UNRL Unreal hats, just a crossover snapback, kind of not the right word, but kind of aerated in the back too, keeping you cool when you're warm and keeping you warm when you're cool. Yeah, I said that right. But yeah, go check them out. Unreal, simply just Unreal, UNRL.com. You can find them all over social media. They're on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it. Go check them out. They just got done with a Formula One drop. They restocked their Espresso collection. They got more things coming up. If you go to their website, you can look at their collaborations too. So the next limited edition is going to be November 4th, drop number 2. Drop number 3 will be a week later, November 11th. And then the 4th one, November 18th. So there'll be 3 more NFL drops before their whiteout edition, which is just Vikings only. So be on the lookout for that. They're always doing new things. So they have really nice fall apparel as well too, and warm stuff. So go check that out. You will not be disappointed. And do not forget to use my link in my bio. You get $15 off your first order. And on your first order, you start accruing points, which will help get you points towards getting, an additional $10 off, $15 off, $25, $50 off, all that stuff. Go check them out. Won't be disappointed. And a lot of you guys might actually thank me. So, with that, kind of last minute here, but also wanted to give a quick shout out to our friends. I think it's just Minnesota Runs Yeah, MN Runs. You can check them out on social media at just at MN_runs. Like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I'm running a 5K with one of my brother-in-law's Saturday. Some of you may be thinking you're insane. I'm not really a runner. I used to run in high school, and I kind of want to get back into it. It's just a good way to kind of clear your head, get some exercise, but it'll be really cool. It's in Bloomington. They're doing events all throughout the year. You can sign up and do like virtual Ks. You can do them in person. Lots of really cool stuff. You can go check them out, mnruns.com. Like I said, they're all over social media too. For those that are interested as well, you can't register for this one anymore, I don't believe, but you can go check them out. They're always doing stuff. I think they have another one coming up in November, end of November, something like that. So just thought I'd give a quick shout out to them. They always do a great job of putting this stuff together, and I honestly can't wait to get out there, even though I'm not currently in the best shape. Yeah. And then just a couple quick things in the Wolves before we get into football and our Vikings back in action. But the NHL season once again is underway. Our Minnesota Wild are already 2-2. We have 2 wins to our name, one of them coming from a shootout and then win, and then 2 losses. And I have to say, this year's kind of started off, again, it's very early, only 4 games, and there's literally 80 games left in the season for the Wild. Was this year so far has started off the complete opposite from what we've been talking about this team for like the last year, 2 years, where the last year, 2 years, we've gotten scoring goals, points from all 4 lines, 18, 20 skaters. We haven't been top heavy that much like that. And then on the other side of things, we've been a really good 5-on-5 team and have just been dormant on the power play. Well, so far, both of those are ass backwards 4 games into the season for the Wild. The Wild, for those that don't know, are currently number 1 power play in the league at 47.6%. The Wild have, through for 4 games, have scored 14 goals. 10 of those have come on the power play. With Matt Zuccarello out, I looked before we got on here, there's still no timetable for his return, so we still hope for a speedy recovery from him. But then on the flip side of things, with that, they put Marco Rossi up on the first line, which so awesome. Through the first 4 games, we have 14 goals, and Kirill, Boldy, Boyum, and Rossi have accounted for 10 of our 14 goals. And then on the flip side with points, Kirill, Boldy, Boyum, same guys, Rossi, and then even William, and then even Spurgeon. So our top line, then our top defensive pairing essentially are accounting for 29 of our total 40 points, which again is awesome. You want your stars and you want your top guys getting the job done that they're getting paid the big dollars for. But at the same time, like, I mean, you look at the final 2 lines, like I look at a guy like even the second line with Hartman, he's got 2 goals for us so far. You got Joel Eriksson, he's got a goal and 3 assists. And then Vladimir Tarasenko, 4 points. It's good, but then after that, just nothing. Johansson, 2 assists. So the Wild, their later lines need to start doing a little bit better. And just collectively, like this team needs to do a better job. I was trying to ask some of my cousins this last week what you have to do to be a better 5-on-5 team. But the Wild simply just have to do something to get things going, trending in the right direction. But yeah, it's obviously, not cause for concern. We're 4 games into a very, very, very long season. We're not even into November yet. So just one of the things I wanted to bring up. And then for the Wild, they'll be in action 1, 2, 3, 3 more times, and then the night of the next podcast. They're in Washington. They're currently in the midst of a 5-game road trip. They'll be in Washington tomorrow night, 6 p.m. for a game against Capitals. Saturday, Philadelphia, 6 p.m. Monday, New York to take on the Rangers, 6 p.m. And then Wednesday the 22nd in New Jersey, 6 p.m. for a game against the Devils. That's what we have there. Not really anything I wanted to bring up for the Timberwolves. Did want to remind you guys, Monday the 20th, before we come on for our weekly episode, we will be dropping our NBA season preview and predictions the day before the season starts on the 21st. And then we actually have to wait an additional day before the Wolves kick off the season on the 22nd. And then on the 26th will be our home opener. I still do not have a schedule. I know some of you have been asking. I am hoping. It's craziness. 2 kids, pregnant with a third. Doing the best I can, but I'm planning on, by the time coming on for the NBA preview, having that set. I don't know if I will post it or if I will just talk about it the next time we are on, but that is my plan. I know you guys have been looking out for that, and it should be fun. And like I said, for October, November, December, the next couple months when NFL's in play, we're probably just gonna stick to like 1 Viking game a month, 2 Wild game a month, 2 Wolves a month, and then maybe after that, so from January, February, March, April, for that, we'll do maybe 3 games a piece for the Wolves and Wild, but we'll see how that goes, and I will iron that out and have a schedule for you guys. And then, like I said, every now and then we might pop up with an additional game, but we will let you guys know that ahead of time. So yeah, I guess the only other thing too, we are currently all dang near to the World Series for the MLB. The Seattle Mariners are kind of the team I'm rooting for. They're currently tied. They beat the Tigers 3-2 to advance to the ALCS. Toronto beat the goddamn Yankees, thank God, 3-1. So it's Toronto and Seattle in the thick of things, tied 2 games apiece, looking to move on to the World Series. And then on the other side of things, the Dodgers have a commanding 3-0 lead against the Milwaukee Brewers, trying to get back to their second straight World Series. So hopefully the Mariners are able to beat the Blue Jays and Dodgers. I don't hate the Blue Jays. I do hate the Dodgers and the Brewers, though. I don't hate the Blue Jays. There's just a guy in the Marlins, Cal Raleigh, super cool. And my dad claims my kid reminds me of him, playing in the backyard. Kid's an athlete. Who knew? But yeah, that's what we have. The World Series will kick off on October 24th, if nothing else. So yeah, that's what we got on that front. And yeah, quickly recapping week 6. Everybody was appalled that Scatterboo and the Giants were able to beat the Eagles. They did not. Tush Push needs to be stopped, or it needs to be banned, but we didn't talk about it. I think the Eagles are morons. I think the best way to get their patented tush push and their best play out there, the one thing that they shouldn't have done if they wanted to keep it for the foreseeable future is run it not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 times in a row. And they did that. A couple of things to unpack from that. One, and I know I posted a small video about this, so we won't go through, everything and all that kind of stuff, but we'll kind of recap it. One, national television, Thursday night game, a whole nation is watching, and they showed the replay in slow motion of all 4 of those plays. 3 of those plays you can clearly see, clear as day, one of the guards moving before the ball is snapped. And on the one that there was no false start, there just happened to be at least 2 Eagle offensive linemen lining up on the other side of the football. And it's like, what? It's hard to beat a play that's not even being run legally. Like, half the time this play is ran, it should be called on for an offensive offside or for a false start, and it just hasn't been. So, fuck you guys for saying, oh, you just beat it. It's not even run legally. So how are you going to run something that's not even being done the right way? Anyway, and the whole forward progress thing, I saw a couple of people comment on my last video about it saying, thank you for bringing up forward progress. Last thing I'll say on that is I have been a big believer for the last 5 or 6 years that forward progress should stop the second the ball carrier is getting pushed by his teammates. Like, if the ball carrier, if you're Cam Scatterboo, whoever, Derrick Henry, whoever, and you're trying to get more yards pushing guys left and right, that's fine. The second you have an offensive lineman, if you're at the 15-yard line, you can't get brought back to the 20 from the defense. But the second, if you're at the 15-yard line, an offensive lineman pushes you forward, like, play over. You just got to be done and call it a day. So that's all I will say on that front. But overall, it was a good week. I think this week we showed us that there is a lot more parity in the league than I think we realized. The Broncos got an ugly win against the Jets. the Colts eked out a win against a very bad Cardinals team, kind of making people think, are the Colts for real or not? A lot of really close games. The Panthers looking like potentially not I shouldn't say the real deal, but a decent team like I predicted. But yeah, overall good week. You saw a lot of good games. The one other game I had some comments on that I'll kind of keep it brief. That stupid game, Detroit Lions Kansas City game. It wasn't look. I'm not a Lions fan, but you cannot tell me that the Chiefs win an entire game without committing one single penalty. And it sucks to see. You saw Patrick Mahomes taunting 4 different times after he rushes for a TD and nothing gets thrown. But there were 2 or 3 players that got called for taunting on the offensive side of the ball for the Lions because they got a first down or was doing whatever they were doing. Anyway, all in all, I thought it was a pretty good week. Again, you saw the Falcons upsetting the Bills, Bears getting a close revenge game win over the Commanders. Didn't get to see our Vikings. Kind of had a week off of kind of having a roller coaster type of week. But yeah, let's just get right into it. Why don't we? So my picks I got for you guys this week. So NFL Week 7 upset of the week. I got Las Vegas plus 12.5 points. The return of Rashid Rice should give the Kansas City offense a boost, no doubt. That and the turnover issues for Geno Smith should give Kansas City all the edge they need to get a big win in Week 7. And I anticipate them winning, but hear me out. I'm taking the points with the Raiders as I think they are going to find enough success running the ball with Genty to work the clock, limit the number of possessions in this game to suppress the margin. So again, I'm having these picks line up with picks I'm giving you guys in my pick'ems with our weekly show we do. I don't think Vegas will win this game outright. If they do, great. But it's not going to be a blowout. If anything else, my lock of the week, give me the Panthers plus 1.5 until the Jets are able to show any consistency in terms of producing a competent passing offense. It's going to be very hard to pick this team to win a game in the Jets. Without Garrett Wilson, that becomes even harder for them to do, obviously. And with the emergence of Rico Dowdle and the possible return of Chuba Hubbard, the Panthers should be able to take advantage of the Jets' mediocre rush defense and grind out a win and put them over 500. So let's fucking go. Give me the Panthers. And then the Vikings game, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I went back and forth. I'm changing what I originally thought. I think at the beginning of the season and everything, this was an easy game to pick that the Eagles were just going to walk all over us. It wasn't going to be a close game. You kind of looked at coming off the bye, potentially being able to do something against this team, but then maybe not really. But at the end of the day, I think the Eagles are clearly playing pretty bad football right now. They've lost in consecutive games, and a lot of people probably have them trying to get back on track. I'm just not so sure about that. I think the Vikings were coming off a bye, and we appear to be getting healthier. Seems to me like Ginkle and Cashman should both be back. We should be getting a couple guys on our offensive line back. It's still up in the air. I think, hot take, as of right now, 11 p.m. on Thursday, October 16th. I think Kevin O'Connell knows who's going to start this game. He just doesn't want to show his hand and have the Eagles game planning for specifically one or the other, which is fine. That's a smart thing to do. But I think regardless of who plays, it should be a good game for us. I think the Eagles are 28th, I wrote down, in the league in yards per play on offense, and have been outscored overall on the season. This is just not the same team that won it all last year, and they're going to need to make some big changes internally to make that happen. So give me the Vikings plus 1.5, and I actually like the under 42.5 points. I know a lot of people might be saying, well, Jack, they're coming off the bye. You get more people back. This should be a shootout. I would love to see it be a shootout, but I really see this being kind of like a 21-17 game. So like I said, give me my upset is Las Vegas plus 12.5. The Panthers plus 1.5, and the Vikings plus 1.5, as well as under 42.5 points. So with that, our segment on the actual Vikings game itself against the Eagles, like I said it a minute ago, I'll say it again. I got the Vikings winning this one in a close one, 21-17. think Carson Wentz throws for 2 touchdowns, and I think Jordan Mason gets another one on the ground. And I still think this Eagle team is going to struggle to get things going. They're not throwing the ball a lot or well, and even on the running game, like Saquon Barkley does not look like Saquon Barkley. So with that, let's just get into our offensive and defensive predictions for the game. I got JJ going off for 100 plus yards and 1 TD, regardless of who the quarterback is. I still seem to believe it's going to be Carson Wentz. The reason I say that is because Carson Wentz, if you look at their separate injuries, Carson Wentz is dealing with a shoulder injury on his non-throwing arm versus JJ, who's dealing with a high ankle sprain. You're more inclined to play a guy who is your veteran who's dealing with something on a non-throwing arm versus your young quarterback that's dealing with an ankle that could tweak it even more and be out even longer. That's what I'm thinking. I still have no idea, but that's what I think is going to happen. And then this one's probably maybe not as bold of a prediction, but I got us continuing to keep Saquon in check with less than 95 yards on the ground. I don't even think he's got 90 yet this season. Let's see. Yeah, his game high right now is 88 yards against Kansas City. Wow. I mean, against the Giants, 58 yards, 30 against the Denver, 43 yards against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a win. Yeah, it's not going to be a good game. I don't believe it's going to be a good game for the Eagles, and the tough thing for the Eagles is this schedule isn't going to get much easier. I mean, after this, they get to host the Giants, but the Giants just laid the hurt down on them. But then they got to go to the Packers and then against the Lions. So there's a legitimate chance that they could lose at least 3 of their next 4 games, if not all 4. And if they lose, 4-2, and you lose 3, let's say 3 of your next games, you're sitting at 5-5, and yeah, that's not what you want. Boom. That's what I got for you guys this week. Don't worry, I don't forget some of my other games I got and I like for you guys this week. Buccaneers, Lions over 52.5 points. These are 2 of the highest high-powered offenses right now in the league, led by Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff. Detroit's defense is vulnerable to the big plays we've seen on the other side, and Tampa's offense is averaging nearly 28 points per game despite having guys on the like third string wide receivers for Baker. On the other side of things, I like the Seahawks-Titans game to go under 41 points. Both of these teams sit among the bottom 5 in plays per game and field 2 defensive-minded head coach. So I recommend, I think multiple field goals are in this one. I think the Seahawks are the better team. I anticipate them winning, but I could very well see this being like a 16 to like 14 or 16 to like 13 type of game. So give me the under in that game. Then I like the Packers minus 6.5 over the Cardinals. Minus 6.5 over the Cardinals. They're one in the league in explosive plays, and Arizona's defense is just atrocious. And then the last one I like is the Patriots minus 7 over the Titans. The Patriots defense has surged into the top 5 status in terms of third down stops, while Tennessee remains in chaos post the Brian Callahan firing. So I would say this Patriots game is probably one of the safest lines of the week, but those are the other 4 games I like for you guys. Bucks Lions over 52.5, Seahawks under 41.5, Packers minus 6.5 over the Cardinals, and Patriots minus 7 over the Titans. Per usual, make sure you guys go subscribe to all of our socials. Make sure you follow us on our socials, subscribe to the YouTube channel, get notified of the new episode when it comes out. If you do subscribe, go on one of the videos, comment subscribed. We will personally like it and then reach out to you, getting you a free sticker. So go subscribe. Love you guys. Thank you for the continued support. And like always, until next time, Mini.